You know, sometimes I wonder if what I'm doing is meaningless or not. Nowadays, I'll probably be replaced by some automated machine. Will I ever succeed? Will I forever be trapped in this prison called home? Are we all gonna die? Why the hell does tech companies want to replace real life with automated imagery? Oh shit! Hello, welcome to the channel KLUVIS. My name is KLUVIS. Let's play Cyberpunk. Deus Ex: Human Revolution was one of the most successful video games in the 2010s. Before 2077, it was the definitive cyberpunk video game experience, thanks to its dynamic gameplay, visuals, and an intense story that was both stylish and riveting, even if a little silly. Nevertheless, it gave the franchise a new identity and introduced a brand new generation of fans. A true revolution, if you will. Well, did you know they made a sequel to Human Revolution called Mankind Divided? Me neither. Heck, I personally didn't know Mankind Divided existed until after it came out. Either I was living under a rock at the time, which I did, or it didn't have the same level of meme marketing as its predecessor. In any or both cases, the game did not sell very well, and put any more sequels on hold, and to this day, the franchise remains dormant because of it. Until the half-assed remastered comes out. Many did not like Mankind Divided when it first came out, seeing it as a black sheep of a Deus Ex game, just like the other black sheep sequel nobody likes to remember. But recently, people have come around and reevaluated the game as a hidden gem. Are the fans correct, or does it deserve to be forgotten about just like the other one? Put on your Matrix sunglasses and tinfoiled hats as we jack into Deus Ex: Mankind Divided. With consent, of course. Remember that contrived multi-choice ending of Human Revolution? Well, prepare to have your mind blown away, because turns out the implosion ending that I pushed for nonchalant reasons is canon. Thanks for nothing, Megan! The cause and reason for Darrow's power to control every augmented human being has been buried under the sea. 2 years have passed and society has changed for the worse after every augmented person turned into a rage zombie, an event called The Incident. Seraph Industries and most of the AUG and PMC companies in the last game have all went under, and augmented people are now being systematically separated from normal humans, aka naturals, who treat them as vermin to society, out of fear that something like The Incident will happen again. Mankind Divided. But what about our good old friend Adam Jensen? Thankfully, our Keanu Reeves impersonator survived the destruction of Pangaea, including Seraph somehow, and now works for a special task force commanded by Interpol operative Agent Miller. The game begins with Jensen embarking on his latest mission in Dubai to stop a group of terrorists called the Jinn. Deja vu. Alrighty, we're off to a good start. Minus the irritating tutorial. Everything's familiar, but different. Like Human Revolution, it's a first-person shooter action RPG. Try saying that 5 times fast. But most importantly, a stealth game. There are many ways to complete a mission, give enemies a knuckle sandwich, a fistful of lead, or
just follow my moves and sneak around. Be careful not to make a sound.
Now, this is a sequel, so there are some subtle improvements. The animations are a lot smoother, and the takedowns, sadly, are a lot less funny, but realistic. In the previous game, the characters looked doll-like and stiff. Now in Mankind Divided, they look significantly better. The game's almost 10 years old, and it still looks good. So good it doesn't even look uncanny. That's an impressive feat of game design. Too bad the game has more glitches than normal. I'll be generous and not talk about the glitches, but yeah.
Show me the cash quick and we'll...
What the?
Suddenly, the mission goes AWOL, and Jensen and friends get attacked by a completely different band of terrorists, gold mask-wearing augmented terrorists.
The snack that smiles back. Goldfish.
We save the cargo and your undercover agent, if you're fast enough, before getting blasted into the title screen.
I won't let it happen again.
Who were those guys in gold? What do they want? Well, don't worry, the game shows you that it's the Illuminati's latest plot for world domination. Hey look, Bob's back! 3 weeks later, Jensen is relocated to his new home deep within the European city of Prague. Why Prague?
Alex, are you here?
How does he know my real?
Yeah. I'm glad you're all right, Adam.
Oh, that Alex. Accompanied by our new macaroni and cheese flavored companion, Jensen gets to see the full extent of the now decrepit, augmentedly tense city of Prague. We also learn Jensen and Alexandria are double agents working for an even more secretive organization called the Juggernaut Collective, led by the anonymous leader codenamed Janus. Janus. And then they get caught in a terrorist bombing.
Stand back, let me help.
Well, terrorism sucks. Now how about we watch robo-eroticism? After settling in, Jensen goes to his new underground office with high-tech gadgets and a plethora of weirdos to hang out with. Our new boss Miller orders us to investigate the train station bombing, with the prime suspects being the AUG Rights Coalition. However, Alexandria believes Miller is also a suspect because he's acting fishy, and wants us to spy on him. Unfortunately, this conflict is nothing like your job in real life, with no potential promotion. Remember folks, don't take video games seriously.
I was taken by surprise by a pair of roguish eyes.
I really like this opening. Mankind Divided has a strong premise and a brilliant direction for a sequel. The stakes, while not as big as last game, are still high, and it hooks you with its intrigue. But I feel like the game is too different. It feels bleak. It feels like a post-college graduation. Jensen has moved out of his parents' home, lost contact with all of his friends, except for his former boss, and now lives in a foreign city with a new job. Where the hell am I even going with this analogy? I know it makes sense for the game to take a darker tone, as this is set in the aftermath of the incident, where millions of lives were lost because people turned into rage zombies, so of course the sequel would address such a horrific world-changing event directly. But the way they do it is at the cost of a lot of the charm of Human Revolution. All that over-the-top late 2000s angst is absent, and it's just not the same without it. Or perhaps the tone has something to do with its new open world. The city of Prague is an exhilarating but depressing experience. Wait a minute, wrong footage. Exploring the city of Prague in Deus Ex is an exhilarating but depressing experience. It's nothing to write home about, but it's pretty big. So big, in fact, you'll have to take our train ride to pass by. Oh boy, I hope you like trains, because you're gonna have to travel and see a lot of loading screens. And I mean a lot. Hey, what's up? Anyway, Jensen's augments get damaged in the bombing and then locate this shaggy-haired weirdo in the sewers to fix him up. During the operation, Jensen learns he has a whole bunch of untapped augmentations he didn't know about, introducing both him and the player to brand new gameplay augmentations. These augs are pretty cool and makes the game so much easier. You can only use one augment at a time though, but at the end of the game you can acquire a chip which lets you activate more than one, which makes you OP as hell, especially in New Game Plus. But just like Human Revolution, you need Praxis kits in order to unlock your augs, and you need XP and credits to get that done. The best way to acquire XP and credits is by completing side quests, which aren't important to the plot, but enjoyable. Although some side quests are more important than others. I ultimately decided to stick to my original augments, save for one advanced hacking skill. Challenging or lazy? You be the judge. After spying on his boss, Jensen goes to the station and discovers Prague authorities planting false evidence to frame the attack on the Aug Rights Coalition, or ARC. In order to prove their innocence or legitimize this cover-up, Jensen takes a flight to a massive ghetto on the outskirts of Prague, called Golem City. Welcome to Golem City, an overly crowded place made up of used Apple products where all Augs are forced to live in poverty by the decree of the naturals. Okay, I think it's time to discuss the robot tarantula in the room. Remember back in Human Revolution where augmentation was a stand-in for various social issues, like corporatization, bodily autonomy, drugs, and Greek mythology? Well, in Mankind Divided, augmentation has now been condensed into one social issue. Can you guess what it is?
Our mandate is to fight for the rights of the augmented.
All of them think very highly of us Augs.
The Illuminati already tried once to control human evolution. Having failed, it appears that some of them now are pushing for complete eradication of your kind.
The Czech Republic leads a growing list of countries calling for the relocation of its augmented citizens.
Just watch yourself, Clank.
I'm not gonna beat around the bush. It's about racism, or prejudice in general. I'm gonna be frank with my opinion and say, there's nothing wrong with making a story about racism or prejudice. Many people out there think racism is bad is a done-to-death message. We all know racism is bad, so what's the point of talking about it? Well, like it or not, prejudice never goes away, and exploring it through fiction will always be important. No matter how many times you'll hear it, the message stays relevant, especially in this day and age. Now, when you're writing a story about this kind of subject matter, there are, shall I say, certain guidelines you have to follow to get your point across. And unfortunately, Mankind Divided fails to follow them. As a matter of fact, it makes one mistake writers should never do when creating a plot like this. Never ever make the racist right! Not only is using augmented people as an allegory for oppressed minorities dumb in of itself, they have no culture, no language, they're just a bunch of people from all walks of life with robot arms and Google Glass. Why the hell would you personally identify with accessories that made you go berserk? Hell, why aren't there Augs trying to de-aug themselves? I know it's expensive and dangerous, but come on, the organ trade industry would thrive because of this. But most importantly, the prejudice against Augs is 100% justified. Prejudice in real life is primarily centered around lies and scapegoating. Sometimes there's non-hateful prejudice, but that's an entirely different topic. But in Deus Ex, Augs were a legit privileged class of people who all of a sudden went cuckoo for Cocoa Puffs and killed millions of innocent people because of some billionaire that hijacked their brains to do what they did. They went back to normal, sure, but the threat of these people becoming weaponized is a genuine possibility. The game itself proves that Augs should be contained and monitored, not just for natural safety, but their safety as well. And to have this fictional group of vulnerable people who made the conscious choice to have robotic toes, be a stand-in for marginalized groups of people in real life is incredibly dumb. Don't believe me? Let's reimagine the setting of Deus Ex. Let's reimagine augmentation as gay people? Yes. In the far future, Mark Zuckerberg introduced the commercialized technology to make people gay. You can become gay at a high price and climb up the social ladder at the expense of all straight people. Everything was fabulous until Mr. Ratburn hijacked everyone's gayness to go on a rampage and slaughter millions. So now everyone hates and fears gay people and want to segregate them from society and throw them to ghettos and yeah, I think you get the idea why this whole thing is problematic, huh? It's not cybernetic individuals facing prejudice that's the problem. I'm sure some writer out there can make that work. The problem is this game's world building clashes with its own themes. And this is the full extent it ever takes with its subtext. Can this get any worse? Like, does this game have poorly aged references to real life events or something? Let's move on. We get acquainted with the robot Hood and meet this meaty big man named Marchenko. No relation.
We'll be seeing you.
After a series of criminal dealings, robbing houses, and climbing buildings straight out of Jedi Academy, we find Talos, the leader of ARC. Just like Human Revolution, you have to talk to people through special dialogue wheels. But instead of being good or evil, you have to convince people. Sometimes you have to be on their good side, terrify them, or prove their worldview is wrong. This time around, it's more difficult, so make sure you get your words right, and maybe people will go look at your Pokemon collection. Talos confesses to not have ordered the terrorist attack on the train station, but fears some conspirators within ARC wants to kill him and take his place as leader. And then he gets poisoned and dies. What a massive coincidence. We escape and return to headquarters to tell our boss Miller the bad news, who immediately ditches us for conspicuous reasons, allowing Jensen and Alexandria to break into his apartment and steal his shit. Looks like our boss likes to play Fortnite. We jack into his chair and enter the digital world.
This is different.
I must say, this level in the digital world is super cool. It has the gameplay of an app game, but it's a welcome change of pace. Too bad this is the only time we get to jack into cyberspace. They really should have done this more than once. We access Miller's porn history and find out he was in touch with a guy who is also in touch with Bob from the Illuminati.
Then it's time for him to use the orchid. Tell him, but at this juncture, Brown is the only person we pay attention to. Once Rucker is dead, I'm positive he's going to make his move. Do it!
What, were you expecting me to make a Microsoft joke? I don't have to, because the jokes write themselves. Before we continue, I have to express my opinion that this is the weakest part of Mankind Divided's plot. It wants to make itself out as this big mystery, much like Human Revolution, but we the player already know what's going on. Every single thing that has happened to us for the past 48 hours was orchestrated by the Illuminati. You could blame it on having an all-powerful secret society as the main antagonists, but I personally blame the cutscene following the first mission. After getting off the internet and going outside to touch grass, it's high time for Jensen, also me, to meet Janus themselves, face to face. And by face to face, I mean FaceTime.
If this is your idea of a face-to-face meeting, I'm not impressed.
You didn't think I would jump on a plane to Prague, did you?
You know, it'd be really funny if Janus turned out to be a 12-year-old gamer, or a VTuber. Thanks to Janus, Jensen learns the orchid is sealed in a tightly controlled bank in the middle of Prague. However, Jensen gets a call from the watchmaker that his daughter, the one responsible for the train bombing, is captured by a tech-worshipping cult, and so you have to make a choice. A hard decision, as both paths lead to extremely difficult levels. I really hate branching paths like this, because the whole point is to make you feel bad. I decided to try out both and see what the difference was, and found out the only real difference the paths give you, depending on your choices, is finding out this tech cult is just one big Warhammer 40,000 ripoff, and going to the bank leads to Jensen discovering his ex-girlfriend Megan is sleeping with Bob from the Illuminati.
Thank you. I just wanted to be sure this time. Good night, Bob.
Good night, my dear.
Regardless of who or what you save, Jensen is then instructed to look for Garm, a facility in the Swiss Alps. Holy cow, there's snow! Do you have any idea how cool this is? It's been forever since I've seen a video game with a snow level. It's so nostalgic, it makes me wanna...
You really must avoid taking those wrong turns.
So, to the surprise of no one, Marchenko was revealed to be the mercenary head honcho working for the Illuminati. It's not a surprise, you knew he was going to be the main antagonist because he's on the frickin' poster for crying out loud. Slavic Shrek injects Jensen with the orchid and conveniently spells out his evil plan to work with the Prague Mafia. Luckily, thanks to the power of genetically enhanced plot armor, Jensen survives and escapes the base. He flies back to Prague where it has fallen to martial law. I hope you like crouching and backtracking, because you had to do a lot of it during this stage of the game. Good thing this didn't happen on a daily basis. I can't imagine getting the groceries or making deliveries while sneaking past the police. Oh man. Phew. DoorDash is here. By the way, instead of taking the train, Jensen simply walks the tracks. Hey, what's up? We made it to the Mafia Underground. It's time for me to do stealth like I've never done before. Just kidding, I beat the shit out of everyone till I get the information that the Gold Masks are plotting to stop Nathaniel Brown from repelling the Human Restoration Act, which, if enacted, would throw every living Aug in the world into ghettos like Golem City. There was one thing the Illuminati wants, and that's more crowded Aug ghettos to create. We say our goodbyes to all the colorful characters we met along the way, and Seraph if you want to, before flying to a place worse than Prague, London. Look! The color yellow is back! Jensen and the gang meet Mr. Brown and are instructed to watch over the party so that nothing or anything bad happens. Like the Gold Masks knocking out and disguising themselves as the building's security and killing Miller. Boy, is Jensen the only competent one about security in this universe? I'm not exaggerating. The final level is pretty challenging, even on easy. You mustn't get caught and you can't create a shootout, or else a mass panic occurs. You need patience and resilience. Otherwise, you'll get a bad ending. One of the rare moments in all of Deus Ex where going guns blazing is no longer a non-recommendable possibility, but forbidden.
This is strictly forbidden.
Marchenko eventually reveals himself and has laced the party's champagne with the orchid intended for Brown. Slavic Shrek also rigs explosives inside the surrounding buildings and taunts Jensen to stop him. Thus, one last choice is given to you, the player. Either save Brown and in turn millions of Augs from getting thrown into the hood, or save thousands of naturals from blowing up. It was a tough choice, but I don't believe the needs of the many outweigh the needs of the few, so I chose to confront Marchenko in a final boss fight where you can actually defeat him peacefully. But at what cost? I hurried back to the VIP lounge. It was a tough call. I know millions of augmented people are going to become second-class citizens because of me, but maybe, just maybe, we can figure something out in the future, and then we'll...
The champagne's been poisoned.
But I had it replaced. It's a cuvée de prestige.
Oh, would you look at that? I got the best ending where nobody dies. I guess the trolley problem can finally go to hell. The gold masks are gone, and the Augs can live with no worry of being thrown in the robot hood. But we can't celebrate just yet. The Illuminati are still at large, and are a lot closer to Jensen than we thought. There's also the question of Jensen's augments, where they came from and why they're so powerful. And the biggest question the game ends off on, who is Janus of the Juggernaut Collective? Big questions that will never be answered, because Mankind Divided failed, and thanks to Square Enix's incompetence, any more sequels will never see the light of day. What fans will get instead after all these years is a half-assed remastered of the original game, which gives me a greater incentive to play the original, but I'll let you be the decider of that. So, how is Mankind Divided? Call me crazy, but I believe Mankind Divided is both worse, yet also better than Human Revolution. The story failed to be as ambitious or charming as the first game, and the bold decision to make augmented people an allegory for minorities was nonsensical at best and offensive at worst. At the same time, though, I was still engaged with the story and wanted to know what happens next. That's mainly thanks to Mankind Divided's great presentation and addictive gameplay, which were huge upgrades from the last game. It may be a stretch to say, but I believe Mankind Divided is worth a try. If you are a fan of Human Revolution or just want to play some FPS stealth game, I recommend it. It's a real shame though that we'll likely never see a proper conclusion to Adam Jensen's story. The next original title in the series will most likely be a completely different story, or another half-assed remastered. Only time will tell. Now, I'm going to end this video by discussing the common complaint that this game is too short, which I'll show you is not true at all by completing all the side quests I failed to finish, playing the other game modes like The Breach, Jensen's stories, and... Wait, what was that? Oh, never mind, the video's over.
Future not so far away, it's a dawning of an all new day. Machine that care could be our friends, side by side until the end. They've got special powers right inside.
Vegan vampire Draculora.
Our cafeteria's got lots of dishes without blood.